Hey, hey. Welcome, friends. I hope you're all having a tremendous Wednesday night. It is Wednesday, right? Um, but yeah, hi, I'm Kios. I am here, um, which is fortunate for some of you, unfortunate for others. My apologies or excitedness. Tonight, I am going to be running some Pokemon Infinite Fusion, also known as Godless Abomination Pokemon. And I've brought my friend Allie with me.
Everyone, I am Limra. You can call me Allie. I also run this game, and this is going to be a very cursed and very blessed experience for you all.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be pretty unique. Um, I guess we'll cover. We want to cover like what's probably going to be the most common question is, well, what Pokemon game is this based off of?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a fan game made in RPG Maker XP. It uses Pokemon Black 2, White 2 as its stat base, but the story itself takes place in the Gen 1's region of Kanto. We'll be going through a bit of a modified storyline that's been kind of tailor-made to the inclusion of the fusing mechanic into the world proper. And you're going to see some of the consequences of that in the rival teams' storyline.
Science has gotten so far, we didn't even bother to ask if we should. You may notice I am running on an older version of the game. Newer versions, like 20, 30 seconds faster. I've just been. Listen, I have a custom sprite and I'm too lazy to upgrade because it'll go away.
Yeah, so the new version is going to be roughly around 30 seconds, and it's also a little bit more safe. When you get to areas where you're checking trash cans, like in Lieutenant Surge's gym for the can puzzle, you're also going to have some consequences because of running on 605. But 624 is the most recent version, and you can get it right now on the Pokemon Infinite Fusion Discord. We are also happy to help out with anyone who's interested in running this game as well. If you want to go to Pokemon Fan Game Speedrun Discord.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am ready to go. Are you ready on the timer?
Yeah, when you hit the button, I'm good to press it.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go. There,
So
I'll
at the
enter a
very
custom
beginning,
name.
oop, there we go. Very beginning, Kyo's going to be putting in a couple of different settings. One of the things that he's going to be doing is choosing which starters we're going to be using and naming the rival as well. In the game, you will be able to choose which starters you want based off of Gen 1, 2, 3, or 4. The current optimal route is going to be using the Mudkip as our base starter, and that will become very apparent going forward once we get into the meat and potatoes of the game.
Yeah, I flubbed my opening menu a little bit there, so we might have a little slowdown unless I get a chance to turn download sprites back off.
Nah, you're good. You could actually do that from the menu too, I believe, under the options. But one of the things that they did add in this game is the ability to run from trainers. It counts as being knocked out or otherwise losing the match, but we abuse that in a couple of situations, the first of which is during Lab Rival. We don't necessarily want to fight the rival because that fight is worse than a coin toss on whether or not we can even get out of it, so we just accept the loss and continue to go get Oak's Parcel right away while taking a couple of fights for some experience. And then the most important thing that we're going to be using in the entire run is this debugger that you're seeing used right now. That also acts as though we just failed a Pokemon trainer fight and warps us to the last place that we rested. That's similar to a Pokemon Center. In this instance, it just zaps us straight back home, so you don't have to do that run back from all the way to Viridian City to Route 1.
I had to cut it short there. I'm not liking this speed stat. Unfortunately, I'm getting stuck in a lot of battles I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the unfortunate parts that we have here. Since Mudkip isn't the speediest Mon at the very beginning, we do look for optimal stats. Once we reach level 6, we'll be able to validate what our stats are going to be. We would prefer to see something that's 14 attack and 11 speed at level 6. But in the meantime, we're going to be catching a rat.
Yeah, I had to circle back for it. Now, I don't like failing because losing a run this early, 14-9. All right, let the fun begin. So we're
So
already
world record is
unoptimal.
world record is currently with a 13-9 at 6, so it's not too bad. It's not the worst that it could be either. Worst I've ever seen is an 11-8 for attack and speed.
My Oranberry goes on to the Mudkip, and then we just hope we don't get poisoned. That's the strategy for right now.
Yep, and Jim here actually is responsible for killing many a run, even with incredibly optimal stats. That Weeren not only has Poison Sting on its moveset, it also has Poison Point as an ability.
Mhm.
So if we don't use Water Gun on it, we could end up taking contact with Poison. And that's very unfortunate for us, considering that is a mandatory fight. If we lose that, the run is gone. And also an invisible Pichu decided to show up on screen.
Yeah, I get that every once in a while, unfortunately. He just doesn't want to load.
So it's oh, and we passed Lana without any issues. Good.
It's a miracle.
Right. So Lana is one of our first instances of a trainer that's called a spinner. She will stand in place and then look in different directions, and she has a sight range that if we get within, she comes and fights us. Usually it's not that big of a deal. She just has a Caterpie fused with a Pidgey, and it's relatively easy to beat up. Unfortunately, she does cost time just from coming in contact with her, and we try not to do that.
Yeah, the other thing is if your Mudkip is KO'd from poison, you can't win the fight.
Yep, that is true. It is an unwinnable fight with just a level 4 or worse Rattata. So, as you may have noticed at this point in time, the majority of our opponents' teams are comprised of Pokemon fusions. Brock does have a very strong Pidgey Geodude that does like to use, unfortunately, Sand Attack and a couple of other nasty moves. The worst part is that as strong as Geodude is, it's not as bad as the Diglett Onyx. It has Bide, it has Dig, and it has Rock Tomb, and it can also come with Sturdy.
Alright, made it out of Brock. First big hurdle out of the way. Even though he took one of the runs.
So now what you're going to see Kyo's doing is he's going to be getting Rock Tomb onto his Mudkip, and we are going to be debuggering back out to the Pokemon Center for our first shopping trip in the Pokemart. How are the stats of the fused mons calculated is something that was asked in chat. So the way that the stats are calculated is the head of the Pokemon is contributing 2/3 of its base stat for special attack, special defense, and HP, whereas it contributes 1/3 of its attack, its defense, and its speed stat. And then it's flipped for the body, so the body provides more of those physical stats instead of the special stats.
Now we go Spearow hunting, which can take some time, you know, especially if you're trying to show off a run. It's a big fan of making you look quite silly.
The good news is that this is the last of the random encounter captures that we're going to get. Everything else that we get for the run is actually going to be gifted to us in one way, shape, or form. It's very fortunate that we only have 2 RNG catches in the Rattata and the Spearow.
There he is.
There we go.
Level 8 too, which is nice.
Yep, so Spearow in this set of bushes can come in levels 6, 7, or 8, and it can also have its hidden ability or its standard ability. We're going to see what it has right now because this is our first instance of us splicing our mons together. This is the ever-loving Spear Kip, and it is the goodest boy. It does have Sniper, which is really good to see, and we do have Naughty, which is a better one of the natures that we see for this. It's going to be contributing an additional 10% of the base stat for attack, and we don't entirely care too much about special defense here.
Yeah, we're basically looking for attack up or speed up and avoiding down in any of those stats. And generally, if you can help it, try and stay away from anything that lowers your defense.
Typically, yes. Special defense isn't the worst thing that we see, considering the big late game threats that we come across are things they're going to be doing...
mainly physical.
Yeah, we've got Cross Chop, we've got Outrage, we've got a few other things that we don't entirely like to see. But those are all physical moves, so at least wise, if we have a special defense hindering nature, it's not going to hurt us in the long run too much.
Yeah, the sprite work in this game is absolutely incredible. A lot of it is done quite passionately by the community itself, which is really neat because there are definitely a few like super special ones. I think there's definitely a few like one-off like memes. One of them I know is I think it's Porygon and Lopunny.
Oh yeah, that one's great. If you have an opportunity to look up fusions from the Infinite Fusion decks, that's a banger. I'm personally a fan of Palkia and Butterfree. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, what did I have? I was doing like a casual playthrough recently, and I think I had a Gardevoir and Shedinja.
Oh, that thing is...
Yeah, it's like a stained glass.
It's so good. There are some mons that are also very cursed, and we always bless the artists because they know exactly what they're doing. If they want it to be cursed, they will go out there and, by goodness, anything with Pinsir in it is certified nightmare fuel, and those artists did a darn good job of making it happen.
Double Furret.
Yeah, double Furret, double Diglett. We can double Dodrio is also be not afraid levels of biblical accuracy. It's so good. But we absolutely have to shout out the artist community whenever we play this game. There are over 150,000 custom art assets that were created by people who love this game, and this game would not be half as good without the contribution of the community at large doing sprites for this. Our main that we're running right now, this Spearow Mudkip, it actually didn't have custom sprites until a member of the community named Basilisk came into our streams and was just like, hey, is there anything you guys need right now? And I was like, well, we don't have anything for our mains. And Basilisk was just like, give me a few moments and we'll get that whipped up for you. And actually made all of the missing iterations of the Spearow, Fearow, Mudkip, and Marshtomp fusions, which you're actually going to see one right here. This is our lovely boy Speartomp, made by Basilisk themselves.
For those that were eagle-eyed while we were covering the hilarity of this game, I did talk to a fisherman in the Pokemon Center, and I bought a very, very powerful and absolutely stat-boosted Magikarp. At least I hope. Otherwise, this is going to be one heck of a grind. You know, I'm a safety potion. May as well. But as Ali mentioned earlier, this is kind of the custom story beat. At least the start of the arc for what Team Rocket is up against. Boo Levitate. Boo this man for having Levitate.
So one of the consequences of this game being Pokemon Infinite Fusion is you have the option of having one of two different abilities whenever you play the game. You have the head version or the body version, and if there are multiple different iterations of abilities on a particular Pokemon, they're actually head and body dependent. In this instance, Coughing has only Levitate, so regardless of whether it's the head or the body, you're going to be able to get a 50% chance of getting Levitate when you have a random opportunity from the game. Because not all of the abilities are hard-coded, only some of them are. In that instance, we have a 50-50 on the Grimer Coughing fusion, and we actually will be seeing another one of those 50-50s coming up here shortly.
Yep.
Alright, here is our second fight.
Thank you
the
for that.
Jerkface rival. Hey, you got
I
a
have
two-shot.
not gotten that in ages.
The two-shot against that Mon is just so satisfying because it still has Poison Sting, and it will absolutely wreck you. And that's a really good bridge rival there.
Yeah, that was very, very nice. I'm trying to think if there's anything we may or may not have missed. Yeah, you can refight trainers in this, and we actually do it in the run. And
Shoutouts
some
to Robbie,
trainers,
our boy.
yeah, some trainers will give you like extra items, or you can actually trade with some of them, believe it or not. So like trading is really big in this game casually to get some of the stuff that's a little bit harder to find.
Yeah, and if ever you get into a randomizer that seems unwinnable because you just aren't strong enough, there's absolutely going to be a trainer that you can go fight and grind your levels with. You don't get additional money, but at least wise you'll be able to get those extra experience points funneled into your mon and be able to get your advantage that way.
Also, we do have a much more safer and beginner friendly route with realistically there's still 2 grind points, but I definitely think it's a lot safer. Coming up, we're going to be doing Dark Cave after this, and that's I think that's probably one of like the only really big learning hurdles, like in terms of like tech or movement. Because we do the cave without flash, so it's basically you get like a 1 pixel, not 1 pixel, but 1 box worth of illumination. So you kind of have to have like everything memorized as to where like things are.
Yep. And like Kios was saying, the beginner route is incredibly friendly. It's a standard Squirtle that you use, and then you very early on fuse it together with a Nidoran male, and you take that mon and you let it be the absolutely amazing like beat stick that it is, because it learns everything you could ever want it to learn and then some. And the only real sticking point that you may have would be that rock tunnel if you choose to do it flashless. But we even have opportunities in the route to diverge whether or not you want to grab your Abra to learn Flash, or whether you want to grab Pidgey earlier on so that we can just use it for flying.
I twitched when I shouldn't have. That's all right. So we just got to be a little bit careful with the with level now, but not too bad.
So, sounds like a tornado. I can confirm it is slower to get the 100k to skip Rock Tunnel. I actually did the timing and the math on that myself, and it ends up being a couple of minutes slower. And there's still some very much required things that we need to do that if we kind of did that, we're actually going to be lower on experience, because we use the mandatory fights within the Rock Tunnel to get to a certain level breakpoint. Yeah, Bulbtata is like the happiest little guy ever.
Oop, I forgot this one
gym.
auto advances.
Oh yeah, no,
because it's 2.
It hacks me on Erica every time because we do gyms out of order in this run. So we actually do Erica before we do Blaine, and she mandates only 3 mons rather than the usual 4 from what we've been fighting up to that point in time. And I always miss menu on that one. It's actually one of my biggest biggest issues.
All right, safety revive. But yeah, the believe it or not, the beginner routes, maybe, I think, what did I end up with my best time on that? Like a 108. So it's like, it's not dramatically longer by any stretch of the imagination, thankfully. It's not like you have to totally relearn everything when you get up to the riskier strats. It's honestly like a really nice stepping stone to learn the basics, and then you're just making a few tweaks.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyo's Blast King route file was actually faster than mine by over 2 minutes by the time that I was already working on what we're calling the Swamp Dose route, which you'll see why it's called that here in a little bit. So it's absolutely still competitive to get a time that's even under this current estimate with the Blast King route.
I honestly debated running it for this just for like marathon safety.
It is slightly more marathon safe because there's a little less chance for missing, which we'll get into that here in a moment. Because the miss moves will be in force coming up.
Listen, I'm definitely slower than I want to be. Like, I'm already a minute and a half behind PB, but listen, this is solid. We'll be fine.
Any rival you can walk away from, any Geo you can walk away from.
Gonna use my bed. Forgot
So the
about
fun
that
thing is,
super potion. But,
so we use the bed here specifically and don't go to the Pokemon Center because we actually set our debug point back in Cerulean City. So once we get done with getting the bike voucher here and then getting canned by Surge, we're going to debug back and we're going to be completely on the other side of the world without having to run through anything.
I saw that, and I am actually gonna just put that there for my own mental health.
I don't blame you. It's absolutely the right move, and I 100% support that decision. And this is going to be one of the things that you're going to see with the reversers that we're going to be using. You've seen Kyos do it a little bit, so that way we can get small advantages here and there against some of the trainers, but Surge is actually unwinnable if we did not have this ground typing with this particular mon set.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd be, mainly water, and that's a absolute no-go.
Yep, we would be water and or flying, and that's a mandatory ×2 or ×4 weakness, depending on the configuration. Oh, the cans are being particularly
No, this is normal. This is normal. Oh, good. Look, I found myself in the trash can, everybody.
So this is one of the consequences of running on 6.5.
50,
that's
50.
So one of the consequences of running 6.5 is they didn't patch it to where Trubbish wouldn't show up in the Surge cans.
Okay, we're gonna get a little lucky at least.
So the reason why both of us were kind of holding our breath on that one is because any of those cans that are on the left-hand side, there's a bug in the game that hasn't been kind of found at how to get rid of it, where the switch will try to go to the left, but left doesn't exist. So it instead just puts an unsolvable pattern there, and you have to just either take the L or reload the room in those instances.
Ooh, very nice. I was going to make a joke about that useless crit, but
no,
works for me.
That was a solid Surge once you actually got to him.
Yeah, definitely had worse, definitely had better. Unfortunately, that's sometimes just part of the run. All right, I'm going to go get my bike so we can get to riding.
Shoutouts to Queen.
Yeah. And I'm going to get 4 reversers. A little bit different than everyone else. I grabbed 9 super repels, 2 revives. I can grab 1 super potion. That'll be good enough for now.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that big of a deal because going up here, we only have realistically 1 or 2 mandatory fights. And then once we get into the cave itself, we only have 3 or 4 that are absolutely hard required. And they're relatively tame comparatively speaking.
You know I'm going to YOLO it after this trainer, right?
You are fully capable of doing whatever it is that you want to do. My advice has never stopped you.
See, everything's fine. It's fine.
Everything's okay. So that bug catcher that Kyos just ran past, he is a spinner. He can look right, and if you don't YOLO, actually, you will be caught by him. So the correct strategy is to just run at full sprint straight up, and you will avoid him every time.
The other issue, which I kind of broached, is I ended up accidentally taking an extra encounter, and right now we want to make sure we don't go over level 31. Otherwise, I lose a bit of time because we have to relearn a move that we should have learned with evolution. Woo!
So to touch on that a little bit, this more or less, when you think of a speedrun for an RPG, you think that you have an experience route and you have to get at least that minor level to be able to get past a lot of the hurdles that you're coming up against. In this game, we have an experience route to ensure that we don't exceed a certain level, because if we exceed our certain level, if we get past level 30 with our fusion, when we split up the components to get our true main for the run, then we're going to be too high level and we're not going to learn our bread and butter move when we want to use a rare candy to elevate its level further. And it causes some problems, but ultimately it's not that bad because we can go to the move reminder that's in most Pokemon centers, and it only costs $1,000 to be able to learn back any move that you have access to.
I gotta start running that dude instead of waiting.
He is one of the ones where if you YOLO, you will be punished. I clocked it like 60% of the time. Your mileage may vary, but he's definitely one of those guys that you're gonna want to slowly roll on.
Looking good.
Yeah.
That's not great.
So this guy just has a bunch of Geodudes, but it's the Sand Slash Graveler that he has that could end up being a little poopy.
Ooh.
They all have Sturdy as well, which is unfortunate.
I'm just kind of thinking this is probably going to be really close to 31.
So at the experience value that you are at currently, you can zero out the entirety of Tower Rivals party and be just barely under 31. And even if you barely go over,
it's a short backup.
Yeah, it's you should be. So the amount of experience that I've been able to confirm that you can still get Marshtomp at 34 with is about where you're at right now, and you'll still get the level 30 when you need it.
Yeah. Listen, either way, it'll be fine. Ooh, flinch, super effective, and you avoided it. I am aerial acing.
Yeah, I was like, aerial ace. It's guaranteed to kill at that point in time.
All right, so we're over 31. We should be okay, but like I said, if we have to, it's a backup. One of the unfortunate things about this game, for whatever reason, it only runs at 40 FPS, and when we're running it at the speed that we do, it is very, very difficult to control. So sometimes you try and tap to move just one, and you'll get two. Is what
Sometimes
it is.
You tap to one and you get 0.
Yeah, which is honestly the more common problem.
Mm-hmm. Can confirm. This area is scary just because of the density of trainers. We actually used to go past this particular area twice, and doing it at 4 times speed is absolutely terrifying. But we have since been able to cut out one of our trips through that area by going south to Cerulean, and it makes things so much nicer and way less anxiety.
Yeah, 40.
Yep.
I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. So
it's one of the weird consequences of running an RPG Maker XP is there's some things that you can absolutely, have control over, and other things where you're just at the mercy of the system itself.
All right, I'm gonna do 212. My money is good because I've taken too many extra fights. But we did a quick little turn in there. We grabbed ourselves a rare candy, which we'll need for a later fight. Or actually, we'll need it for right now, actually, to get our main set up. And I also did our little shopping endeavor. If you're familiar with... Oh, thanks for showing up now, Spiro. Where I grabbed some guard specs, which prevent from stat loss. And a bunch of attack and speed. So we're going to do this.
For those of you who are familiar with Pokemon runs for the mainline games, you know that X items are kind of the bread and butter staple for doing any sort of speed run. You wouldn't be surprised seeing like 20 or even 30 of a specific X item being utilized. In this instance, we only got 9 of the attacks, 3 of the speeds, and 2 of the guard specs, because with the way that we are going to set up our main, we will not need more than that. We just need to kind of get it off the ground. Once it hits level 45, we're going to be golden. And here's our happiest boy ever.
Magatomp!
Magatomp!
Adamant, yes.
Oh, we got the adamant. Let's go. That was the nature from the Magikarp. So yes, it was absolutely goated. You were absolutely correct.
This should be good. Well, at least solid, leanable.
Yep. And that is actually something that we haven't touched on. We are running this on maximum speed up, which is ×4. And
yeah, I gotta go back to Pokemon Center.
It gets hair-raising very quickly when you're in certain areas, because you will absolutely just run into every single trainer if you're not careful.
So I made an oopsie, so normally what happens is you're supposed to get Aquatail there, but just because I accidentally took that 2 extra battles just from overstepping, I just had to go and get it manually. Not a big deal. I mean, on a world record push, not ideal, but like for a run like this, it's fine. Anyway, Erica's our friend. She's going to keep us nice and healed up, and we're going to play around in the sewer because the playground is closed.
This is actually a really awesome segment because you get to run around with one of the gym trainers, but also she will heal your Pokemon after every battle. So we can do whatever risky strat that we want to do and essentially not be punished for it so long as we don't end up taking a feint. And she is going to be here for just a little bit. You're not going to have her for the entire time. We do a couple of cute things, like in this instance, this isn't the case in the entire game, but in this instance, if you were to fight those two guys together, you would have to do a double battle with you and Erica. The way that that particular pair is coded, you can fight the guy on the left and it won't trigger the entire fight. You'll only have just him and the other guy doesn't trigger whatsoever. It's not like that for all the fights. We'll actually see one instance of that a little bit later in a different gym, where we actually have to fight the two individuals separately if we talk to them rather than getting into that pincer attack. And then this one's just coded weirdly because the girl on her own is also a double fight, and we actually don't trigger the guy that joins her. There's a single tile where you can get them to work together, and that fight is actually one of the worst things ever if you're trying to do a speed run. The route's just kind of really cursed, with him included. So I'm glad we don't have to fight them.
Ditorb. Yeah, Ditorb is also very excited to be here.
Also, for those who never knew that putting a cat and a snake together was a bad idea, here's Purbach.
It's like knife wrench, but worse.
Yep.
Listen,
So
I know
we're gonna...
most of you are old enough to get a Scrubs reference. Come on.
So now we're gonna fight Giovanni, who is
Stinky.
one of our big walls in this run because of this Arnix. Okay, Arnix has Intimidate. It's 50-50 to have either Intimidate or Sturdy, and Intimidate in this instance is good because it allows us to set up our guard spec, which it has Acid Spray, which will sharply decrease our special defense if we get hit by it, which will guarantee that this stockpile battle for Arnix goes completely off the rails. Once it's down, we can one-shot everything, as you can see, and Giovanni's just a chump. But getting over that hurdle of that Arnix is sometimes way easier said than done.
Yeah, especially if it does have Sturdy, you're basically guaranteed to have to get 3 Aqua Tails on it. And Aqua Tail is not a 100% move, and there is the small case where Haunt-kun can sucker punch you for an extraordinary amount of damage. So run status so far, because we're moving pretty quick. Right now, I'm a little over where I would be experience-wise, like ideally. This is not a big deal at this point. We kind of made it through. Stat-wise, my attack is really solid. My speed is pretty okay. My HP is a bit on the lower side, and getting this encounter and then immediately confused is not ideal.
Yeah, this is one of those fights you don't want to see. And since we're only level 34, there's a significant number of Pokemon in the Pokemon Tower that we will get into encounters with, regardless of what our level is, because they will outlevel us. There is even an opportunity for multiple level 40 Mons that you can get in here. The level 40 Gengar is the actual worst.
Yeah, no, he is. I love Gengar enough to have him tattooed on my body, but like, he is not my friend in this run. Pretty much everything bad is like Gengar Haunter related.
Yep. Oh wow, that was a really nice Genwalk.
Yep.
That was really nice Genwalk.
Mean Look Open is always like free for me whenever I see that.
So the moveset on that is Mean Look, Shadow Bone, Thrash, and it will absolutely end you 100% of the time. We don't like seeing Thrash under any circumstance, but Shadow Bone is actually really difficult to have to deal with as well, just because of the way we have our mon set up. We are still a little bit of a glass cannon in certain places. We don't get significantly tanky until we get that Swampert body, and until then, we just have to pray when it comes to those super hard-hitting moves like Shadowbone and Thrash. And Shadowbone does have that stab, so we take extra damage from it.
Also, that explains the extra repel I carry around, is so I can do that movement without getting an encounter, and I don't have to worry about the super repel running out while I'm trying to do this. Repels and super repels always run out at the worst case time. I goofed it. Oh well.
That's okay. So the bike road there is actually one of the worst things in the entire game to do at full speed if you do not know exactly what it is that you're doing.
We'll be fine.
Yep. The good news is that you also have Fly on your Fearow. It's not going to do the best move, but it'll at least like stall out for a little bit and help drop that HP.
Good enough.
That flail did a criminal amount of damage.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, it's going to be one of those kind of runs. There's nothing I can really do about it. All right, so now we all get to sit in silence and think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of delicious eggs?
Delicious eggs?
Yes, delicious eggs.
Is pathologic. Well, realistically, that should have been in the intro, but... All right.
So, we're going to be doing 2 jaunts through Safari Zone. The Karate Man that Kyo's talked to was important to set up getting our lucky egg, vital item in more or less any speed run. If you can get it, you get it, and it helps make late game less pain. Ooh, nice! You got through the sand traps there, not a single encounter.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be behind anyway because the game did not accept my inputs for the biker skip. But my apologies for no music. For whatever reason, this version of the game does not have music in Safari Zone. They fixed that. But I just use this as quiet, contemplative meditation while I rage at all the red on my timer.
So, fun fact, they actually didn't fix that until, like, 613. It was a long time before they got that fixed, and I'm not entirely sure why it was as big of a fix to do as it ended up turning out being, but as long as Safari Zone has been, it has been dead silent that entire time.
Delicious egg!
We finally got it.
Yeah, I gotta do a little bit of maintenance before I get cracking in Koga's gym.
The good news is that you're still slightly up on experience, so it might not take as many fights in order to get to that 36.
Yeah.
Which is, if you do not hit 36 on this route with your Pokemon, you are absolutely not winning this fight. And even when you are 36, Koga can still just be like, you don't win. And then he's right, you just don't win.
You know what? I'm gonna check this, dude. I don't remember where my experience is. We might... Yeah, wow. Okay, so we can... Wow, thanks for the avoid. Good flinch, though. Cool. I don't have to touch any of the other trainers, which is nice, even though they're easier fights than this.
Yeah, Greibach is actually
the
worst thing here, outside of Koga himself.
There's Gyarp.
Yeah, here's a boy. That guy, he has one of the most cursed looking mons in the entire game. It's a Golbat Parasect fusion, and it is the nightmare fuel you wish you didn't see. It is really, really, really horrifying. But here we have Fairy Princess Venomer, who is here to give us, hopefully not poison.
Looks good. Let's hope she doesn't ruin it. Of course she did. That's fine.
I mean, you got the Rock Slide.
True. Beether is also one of my favorites. Just absolutely cool looking. Get that toxic out of my face.
Oh, you got this.
We're good.
There you go. Okay, good. You did it. So, I've actually named that split Wall of Chinook because sometimes Chinook will just say no, and you have no response. It's just that bad.
he likes to just continually regenerate health too, which doesn't help because I think 2 of the attacks can inflict poison. Or is it
So
3?
it has a way of inflicting poison in 2 different ways. I don't remember exactly what it is. I just know that it does have Sludge Wave, and it is the worst thing possible.
Beautiful. Next thing I'm looking for is 39. With level, I need to get Crunch onto this bad boy, and I want to try and get 40 before we do, like, try and wrap up the tower. This is like another one of those horrible, awful fights that we have to just kind of hope we don't get crushed in coming up.
So, fun fact, if you were to do this, like, fully optimally, 0 additional fights whatsoever, you actually fight Silph Rival at 38. And it is the most horrifying thing you could imagine, because you have 0 safety net. If something goes off the rails, get reset and get back at it. So having the ability to take some extra fights, getting some additional marathon safety in a setting like this is absolutely fantastic. And we're gonna make sure that we have all of the health that we need before we even begin to think about going into the next area.
I like this guy because it's an easy fight and it gives me the experience I need.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
this is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic fight there. What we need to do in order to get to the next area is we need to get the key card, and then we need to rescue a minimum of 5 Silph employees. Fortunately for us, there is a room right here that has 5 Silph employees and a Carbos and a rare candy.
Which we will need.
Yep, we absolutely will need that.
Oh, that was almost bad.
We're not going to use that yet, though. We have.
Don't tell me what to do. This is my run. I'm gonna take safety fight on 8. Just we're already behind. It's not even worth fighting.
Yep. So this is going to be a relatively quick fight because we just have a bunch of things that are weak to water and eradicate, and then we get a free heal. And that item over there is an X defend if ever anyone needs an emergency X defend, like a randomizer or something.
Yep. Used to use that in the beginner route, I think, yeah?
Yep, that X defend is mandatory in the Blast King route. So the big thing about the Blast King route is it feels more like a traditional Pokemon speedrun because you use a lot of X ability or X items, and you have a little less of that high risk, high reward movement. But now we're running with the king, the Swapdos, and we are fighting Jerkface Blue in Silph. We have to use the last of our X items here in order to get him set up. We're saving that guard spec for a special occasion, but unfortunately his lead is a pain in the butt. It uses Thrash a lot, and the next thing that he brings out immediately is Tauros, which can one-shot us with Takedown, and it does so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna reset on that. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fine because we can usually get away with 1, maybe even 2 feints against Rival with all that setup and still be able to have a decent pace.
Can you get through it from that? Yes. Do you want to? No, not really. It's incredibly slow and tedious.
Yeah, the fight becomes about triple the length if you were to actually stick around and do that fight without a setup on that particular Tauros. Hey, nice.
Okay, we should be in okay shape here. I'm just gonna play it a little conservative.
Yeah, unless it crits, you don't. There you go. You're absolutely fantastic on that one, and the rest is free because the last Pokemon that it has, we have the Crunch for the Star. Even if we lost our setup, Electados literally cannot hurt us. All of its moves are electric, and we are ground type, so it cannot hurt us in any way, shape, or form.
I still have both Full Restore and I think the Max Potion, so this should be pretty okay. I've had a recent spate of having to go into this fight with no healing items, and well, the odds are not always in my favor.
So in this fight, we actually want to focus on the Primarino at the very beginning because it has close combat, and as you might know, if you are a fan of Pokemon, close combat really hurts. And then from there, we focus down on the Gencon, because it is an angry, angry Mon. It has Shadow Ball, it has Dark Pulse. It's just going to make our lives absolutely miserable. What we want to see here is actually the Tauros get a couple of workups if the ace or the lead for our rival who's helping us falls off. And then we want to see that Tauros go to town onto the non-Gen-Con Pokemon, whether that's the Sand Queen or one of the other ones. In that instance, it does a large amount of work, and then we can turn around and just use Aqua Tails so long as Dig doesn't happen. And we're good on Geo.
Yeah, not bad.
And we reached level 45. The reason why we needed that is because that's when Gyarados learns Dragon Dance, and that's why we don't need X items any further.
Very important. Do not mess that selection up. You 100% need this Totodile.
Yep, the Totodile is incredibly necessary because it is both our Surf and our Strength Mon. That's the reason why we picked up that rare candy just a little bit earlier, because without that, we actually can't teach it Strength unless it's the Croconaw. Yep, Sand Queen is absolutely majestic. I will take no detractors on that statement whatsoever.
Swamp Dose. Swamp Dose.
Here's a bully Swamp Dose. Again, shoutouts to the Spriter community. If ever you want to change your sprites in this game, by the way, you can go into the Pokedex and you can look
just
up the
change
entry
them
for the Mon itself, and you have full control over it.
We're giving you full creative control.
Yep. So now we're going into Sabrina because who cares about fighting Erica, right? Suddenly Monster Hunter? Exactly.
Yep. There's Mr. Bra.
So this is actually the pair of trainers that I was alluding to earlier in the sewers. We still have to fight both of them. We can't just fight one and then the other one forgets that it's a trainer. In this particular instance, we want to fight Mr. Bra just in case if we don't hit that 45. Because we will get that against the next guy as well. Sometimes we can get a little earlier, and that slow pro Dugong can be problematic.
Brine.
We have a bit of a unique setup here because the Hype Mine starts with Nasty Plot. We go with our Dragon Dance first and then Aqua Tail it immediately, so that way we can get that one shot, and then we finish our setup on the Ezreon to get that second Dragon Dance. Aqua Tail that too, and then crunch the rest of the way. If we didn't get that, Genkazam outspeeds us and one-shots us.
Yeah,
so
and it's
important
gnarly.
that we find that too. You wonder if there's Monster Hunter sprites in this game? Yes, I have seen several. They're mostly found on Dragonites and Haxoruses, from what I've seen for the Rathlow sprites.
Yeah, Melodic too.
Oh, really? I didn't know about the Melodic Ninetales. Nice. I need to look that one up.
She waited for me.
No, she absolutely did. Lori is a beast. She has the best Pokemon ever, the Oddcute. You will all cower at the power of the Oddcute. So part of the reason why we do Erica so late is because we can just take Ice Punch and then just literally, like,
truck it down.
And yeah, it's literally nothing. The only way this fight gets faster is if you somehow manage to make the game itself go even faster than it already is. And fun fact, even if you were to go fight Sabrina and the game tells you you can surf, you actually can't surf until you get the total number of badges that the game would expect you to have at the time when you beat Sabrina. She's the 6th gym leader, and you need 6 badges in order to surf. You can fight Sabrina and still not be able to surf here, so it's not entirely like we were going through Gen 1 style, where you could fight Sabrina, completely ignore Koga, completely ignore Erica, go straight to Blaine. But it's very interesting being able to do that and not just essentially copy-paste the entirety of the route from Gen 1. It does lead to a lot of really interesting interactions as well.
Also, yes, shout out to my femboy Mizitsune enjoyers for Melodic.
Love Mizu. The weapons that I'm commissioning for my wedding are Mizu-based.
I have a pair of Nargacuga dual blades hanging up behind me.
Forgot you are also a fellow dual blade enthusiast.
Yes, I am. Dual blade go burp.
Yep.
That dude is super important. We take our time there. he will just end the run, period.
Yep, that scientist is actually unwinnable with our Pokemon. With any of our Pokemon. Even if the frickin' Fearow was the same level as our main, it could not stand up to it.
Flying weak.
Cursed. Yep. Even if we were to flip our fusion, it would still be unwinnable.
And no, I didn't memorize all these answers. I just read really good. Yep. I'm a very excellent reader.
The thing that messes me up the most on the quiz is the ones that are just single text boxes instead of 2 text boxes.
Hit cancel. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. I just mash cancel. All right, so we're looking for no toxic here. So this should be pretty okay as long as my speed is up, and that was really kind of the last thing to potentially worry about there, is sometimes Houndtails can be a bit of a b-hole.
Yeah. So, fun fact, if you do not outspeed the 9-9, you lose hard. It has Thunderfang, and we have to go into this fight because Gludash has both Sunny Day and Solar Beam, so we absolutely cannot go into this fight with a Water Ground type. It will obliterate us. We trade that off for a 4x weakness against Electricity from the 9-9's Thunderfang. As long as you don't miss, nothing bad happens, and everything is fine forever. No one's ever missed a shot in XCOM at 99% ever, and I will take no detractors on that either.
I missed Aqua Tail 4 times in a row in my practice run. Alright, we gotta swap up the boy here so we can get some extra damage. And the next big thing I am waiting on is the next level, which is 51, so I can get Earthquake. You're beautiful and wonderful. I learned it from you, Wells. Good flinch to open. There's an Aqua Tail miss, just because the game has a penchant for making me look like an idiot.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Like
Thanks for spamming Brine.
Within 2 weeks, both Kyos and I have lost significant PBs to missing Rock Slides or Aqua Tails consecutively.
I'm going to go with the strat to try and keep this Fearow alive, because it's like one less thing I have to worry about. Even though, for me, it's technically slower and it pushes getting Earthquake like one battle later. It's much, much safer. Because I also don't think I've purchased any... Excuse you. Thank you. There we go.
Unfortunate.
All right. Now the rest of the game is in the bag, obviously. I'm gonna heal up here. I do have a PP max we grabbed earlier. Okay, everyone laugh, get it out. But that's gonna go on Earthquake. Earthquake is going to pretty much take a good portion of the rest of the run, thankfully.
The only time that we don't use Earthquake is if there is a significant weakness that a Pokemon has, or it has Levitate. Obviously, we can't use it on the Weezing because Weezing does have Levitate. Oh, and it's self-destructed.
Thank you.
It never used that. Wow.
I'll take it.
I'm not complaining either. I just wish it would happen to me.
Yeah. That should have been me!
Alright, so now here is the entire culmination of the Team Rocket subplot. The entire reason why they were setting up that ridiculous contraption in Mount Moon is because they were trying to set up a machine that would allow for a triple fusion. Instead of being able to fuse 2 Pokemon together, they wanted to be able to fuse 3 together. And that's why they took over Silph Co, so that way they could get the Master Balls, which were a key component in being able to make it stable. So here... this is going to be our first super boss of the run. There are others if you were to do an expanded category called Beat Gold, but this is the one that we get here. And we
snuck
will see...
Foul Play off.
Yeah, Foul Play is a beast.
I'm just gonna go safe and heal here because I'm only sitting on 3 revives. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the Triburb has its way, you might need all 3.
Yay, no poison. Okay, cool.
Yep,
so
nice.
We should be in decent sitting here, not a big deal. I'm gonna Elixir because we need as many... we basically need full PP going into this fight because all 3 birds have pressure.
And all 3 instances of pressure stack. So we're losing about 4 power points for every Rock Slide that we use here. And Rock Slide is important because the birds are all weak to it, and Moltres is significantly weak to it as well.
Two flinch.
They all
Tailwind.
have the berry that reduces super effective moves against them individually, so that's why it dealt so little damage at the very beginning. But even with... Oh,
See,
there we go.
Yeah, I have...
We're out of...
Yeah, it's fine. One of them grabbed Tailwind, so I'm just kind of rolling through that a bit here.
Yep. So if we see Tailwind, which is unfortunate, we do try to waste just a little bit of time, so at least we can make that peter out. But after this, we are actually golden. The worst one that we could potentially have an issue with is Zapdos, but because we're ground type, we never have to worry about it, functionally speaking, because it won't do anything other than Drill Peck. The next worst thing that could happen would be a burn from a Flamethrower from Moltres, or a freeze from an Ice Beam from Articuno. That's not really consideration. They die too quickly, and they're too usually busy setting up with either Tailwind, Safeguard, or Light Screen to really make that big of a difference.
All right.
This is just a fabulous Dodrio. Where's the lie?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yep.
All right. So we'll go pay Giovanni another visit because the first 2 beatings we've given him apparently aren't enough. What's that meme about? What do we have to tell you? How many times do we have to tell you, old man?
The good news is that for the most part, Giovanni is relatively safe. Now that we have Guard Spec routed into the route, the unfortunate part is that his lead has Bulldoze, and Bulldoze would routinely make us slower than even his Snorlax fusion, which makes things hideous to be outsped by something that's got a Snorlax body.
I'm going to cover just in case we get Sing here. Sing is another annoying thing that can happen because it always interrupts your setup too.
Yep.
Looks clean.
Can confirm Perish Song is a little too far out of the way for us to be able to use that. I've also heard that a Stab Explosion one-shots it if you are of a relatively comparable level to Zapdos.
Wait, excuse me?
That's a neat trick.
Yeah, that's an odd one. That Speed Tie, maybe? Oh, and a miss too. Love that. And you know what? Sure game. Just let's go with this. It's fine. We'll just...
I've never seen the Geo go that weird before. That's
Yeah.
a new one.
I don't even remember if I saved before that. Nah, I'm not even gonna bother. Let's just re-roll it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did, but if not, we can just take the save. I'd have to do this without Guard Spec now.
There's a Sandstorm.
This is
There's
fine.
a Surf. Yeah, you're good. If it was
Weird.
gonna heck you with Bulldoze, it would have already done it. Oh no! The double miss.
Unbelievable.
What is Aquatail on today?
I told you. You refuse to believe that I am this unlucky. I am.
It went to Mega Horn the Rattata and it missed. Check
I'm just
where your
gonna-
save is real quick. Yeah.
I'm just gonna take it because I'm pretty sure I did save in front of him, but I didn't want to have to
Yeah, you're good.
take this fight 3 times. This is what you call just marathon luck, unfortunately. Generally with Guard Spec, this becomes pretty darn free unless you get slept, but apparently I'm just going to miss multiple times. Again.
Holy butts. All right. Okay, you're fine. You should be good now.
Mm-hmm. Are you sure about that?
I mean, I was sure about that the last time, but here we are.
Yeah, and now this time I didn't lose the speed tie to Rylax. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to watch that back and see exactly what happened and do some math because that was really weird.
That's the only thing I can think of is it's a speed tie, and I lost a coin flip. Like, that's really the only thing that would make sense.
A speed tie with +2 speed against a Snorlax body is... That's... I'm not saying it can't happen, but that's Snorlax...
Incredibly unlikely.
Yeah, it would have needed to have had a positive nature and some other shenanigans that like a 30 IV in its speed on top of it.
So you're telling me I would have had to have been gargantuanly unlucky for it to happen?
Yes. Oh, we're saying, seeing that something Magnus is saying, you missed the first and second Aqua Tail on that.
Yeah, that was the second fight. The first fight I actually got knocked out with 0 misses. I don't even think I got the first attack off unless I am missing something, and if I am, feel free to correct me.
If you did miss, it would have been very hard to see because you are running at max speed, and you probably would have needed to. I mean, even without a crit, it still probably would have one-shot you because it still would have been a stab earthquake.
Yeah.
I don't know what item the Relax has, but I'm fairly certain it's not a Quick Claw.
Yeah.
Because we would have gotten a text box that says Quick Claw makes it go faster.
There's Esrion. Someone mentioned Esrion earlier. It is a very cute Pokemon.
Yep, we actually get to see 2 Esrions, that guy and then Sabrina's. Height boosting items. So when it comes to their held items, the person who made the main story mode, his name is Frogman or Chardub, he put specific items that he wanted to have on there for balance purposes, like with the oh, there we go. Cool. Like with the Zapmokuno, for instance. And previous iterations, it did not have the weakening berries, but added them in there at later iterations.
I am slow for some reason, but it is what it is. I'm going for this gold split, and you can't stop me.
All right, here's one of the big walls, and
flinch.
Holy crap!
And a crit.
Oh my god!
Listen,
oh,
the game likes to play games. I don't know what you want from me.
So in version 6.2.4, that fight is not the Venitoys, it's instead a Victory Bell Blissey fusion, and
the Victrussi.
It makes my life so much easier because I don't have to pray that 3 rock slides kill and that there are some level of crits in there because the game just wants me to fail, which happens significantly. It's why I really want to get Kyos on 6.2.4 because the quality of life improvements between that and 6.5 are insane, and you would appreciate them significantly.
Sorry, you know how it is. I have to Victory Road.
Your Victory Road is better than mine, still, and it angers me because I want my Victory Road gold so bad.
Yeah, and I still have like 15 seconds to save on mine, realistically.
Yep, the last Victory Road trainer gets the Venitoys, and that trainer is the one who previously had the Victory Bell Blissey fusion. It also changes the girl who very hyper runs back and forth. It changes her to a spinner that has a Golem Hypno, I think it is. Super easy to one-shot. Oh, you take that so risky.
I hope you enjoyed that. I really hope you enjoyed that.
Well, he doesn't have a terribly angry Pokemon, but
he is very
so
fast. Well, it's alright. I paid the price for it. I tried to be cheeky.
So this is YOLO Hiker. We love YOLO Hiker because we can just literally YOLO and he never punishes us unless we take one too many steps. Fun fact, way back when, we would literally go as fast as we could under him and just hope he turned the other way. We since started going above him and it's made our lives significantly easier. That girl right there is the one that I was talking about. She got replaced by Spinner in 6.2X, and I'm very happy about that because she would occasionally tag us and we would lose a bajillion seconds.
Yeah, I don't know if I can gold split because I got YOLO hikered, but we'll see.
Oh, well, we get to see Victrussi today.
I beefed it. That one's on me. Sorry, chat. Nope, no gold for me. Womp womp. So close.
Well, we got extra experience because that thing is literally an experience pinata. There's nothing it can do to us and everything we can do to it, and it makes our lives significantly easier getting that just a little bit extra experience against the impending doom that is the Elite Four. So we have a very specific set of fights that are going to happen here. So against Lorelei, we're going to be setting up 4 Dragon Dances, and then we are going to be using very specific moves and relying almost exclusively on Rock Slide at the very end. The only time it wouldn't is if things go
I'm going to safety
weird.
heal.
Yeah, definitely take the safety heal. So you would think that she wouldn't be terribly too bad, and she really isn't. There are, unfortunately, things like this Jinx Tangrowth here, and then Tennister's not terribly too bad, but if we end up missing against this Weaveress, we could end up
that's an
getting
ugly
singed,
one.
we can get obliterated fairly easy, and it does have pressure, so that does make things very awkward if we do end up missing.
Thank you. Do not forget to reverse her, otherwise it's over.
Yep, if you forget to reverse against Bruno and you are still flying type, you get one shot and cannot win this entire fight. Your run is literally dead because Electivire Machamp is its lead, and you have to get at least 2 Dragon Dances off. Ideally, you would get a 3rd because the cross chop misses. But very frequently, you will have to wait out this cross chop until all of its power points are gone. And then it has to swap out.
On the plus side, I already have my 3, so it's not a tremendous deal.
Yeah, so this is typically how it will go. This is a very standard fight, because after you get done seeing those 5 cross chops, Mavire can't actually do anything. Its other move that it has is Thunder Punch, and it doesn't affect us because we are ground type.
Queen.
But
I had, you know what? Yeah, let's just roll with it. I just have to keep an eye out for Confuse Ray. That's the only thing that can really set this fight off wrong.
Yeah, so Ms. Bat here.
There's one.
Oh, there it is. We only have to set up 2 Dragon Dances in this particular fight, and the good news is everything else in this fight is paper. If you run this on 6.2.x, the Snorlax fusion that's going to be coming up here shortly will have Levitate. So this guy levitates in 6.2x, but everything else doesn't. You just swap out your Earthquake that you use on that for an Aqua Tail, and it still gets 1 shot. And now we have the last 2 fights. We have Lance and we have Champion. Lance, unfortunately, does like to use Outrage a bunch, so we need to be very careful in how we approach this fight.
Yep.
If we see a Rain Dance, it's almost guaranteed that we're going to win without any problems. There's a Rain Dance number 1, there's a Hydro Pump, and then he starts his Outrages. As long as we don't miss a Rock Slide, everything here is gravy. And then we switch over to Aqua Tail for the Tyrandactyl, and then Earthquake the rest of the way.
I'm free!
Yep. There's almost nothing that Lance can do if you get past his first 3 Mons, because everything just dies to Earthquake at that point in time. And now, last but not least, we have the champion, Jerkface Blue.
Everyone names him Butts. Or Fart. I called him Fart when I was a kid.
So the worst thing that the lead can do is double team. If we see double team, it's actually kind of really awful. But we didn't, so as long as we don't have literally everything that's happening right now occur, this fight is essentially just a foregone conclusion. The only thing that can kill this run typically is that lead, and with all of those double teams. Because in addition to double team, it also has Sword Stance. But as you can see, once we get past that, everything's gravy, and now all we've got to do is wait for credits.
Yay, we survived. This was ugly, and everything that could go wrong did, but we made it.
The good news is that you're underestimate.
Yes, I am. We are coming up on time, roughly when it starts to fade off screen. I just kind of guess.
So time is now. Once the black fully transitions there. So that's a 1:06:30. That is a very good time. It is better than what even we could potentially get without literal god luck on the Blast King route. So anything that can beat the Blast King average, I consider to be a resounding success.
Yeah, for a marathon run, it wasn't half bad.
So yeah. But closing comments, Kyos?
Oh, that's right. I have to keep it PG. Come join us, please, so someone else can suffer. I mean, have a great time with us.
Yep. If you're interested in any of the resources, we do have multiple guides on speedrun.com. Just look up Pokemon Infinite Fusion. We have guides for the Blast King route as well as the Swamp Dose route if you are feeling particularly feisty. We also do have, I've made a couple of video tutorials as well. You can reach out to Kyos and myself. We're more than happy to assist. And then I did plug the Pokemon fan game speedrun community that has a link for that particular Discord channel in the Pokemon Infinite Fusion SRC page. And we hope that you enjoyed this showcase.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. What do we have up next? I should know, because I am going to be taking over restreaming duty. Coming up next, we have Steveless, No Major Glitches, from a very, very good friend and longtime colleague of mine, Close to War, aka Vinny. If you have not played or seen Dark Cloud 2, it is, I hate to overuse the phrase, but it is such a comfy game. It's going to be quite wonderful.